We are now joined by our top two contenders for the regular season Xfinity Series champion, Justin Allgaier, driver of the number 7 Chevrolet Accessories Chevrolet, and Christopher Bell, driver of the number 20 Rheem Toyota. We'll now open the floor to questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand and we'll get a wireless microphone to you. Please state your name and affiliation before asking your question. Okay.
Jacob Seelman, Speed Sport Magazine. I got to ask Chris this a couple weeks ago. So, Justin, now that you're kind of the one with all the momentum swinging in your court, do you feel a little bit like you're on top of the world after conquering the road courses and kind of drawing even with Bell there on wins, or do you guys still feel like there's work to be done, that you're not where you want to be?
I mean, there's always work to be done, and there's only one road course left, so I don't know that was really an advantage for us to be able to win on the road courses as far as notes or anything like that go. But it's nice to have that momentum. It's nice to be really feeling like our race team has done a great job, especially over the course of these last few weeks. It's been fun to be a part of this program, and everybody at Junior Motorsports works really hard, and we bring good Camaros to the racetrack every week. So to be able to win 2 out of the 3 on the road courses, but I think the last 5 races our average finish is like 1.6 or 1.7. So I mean that's been a lot of fun.
Go next over to Lee.
Lee Spencer, RacingVoice.com. Justin, can you just talk about where you guys have found whatever it is that you found over the last month, because the performances have just been spectacular?
Yeah, it's been interesting. Jason Burdett and I have had a great relationship as far as just kind of getting to know each other better and better and better over time has gone. And, I feel like that right now, we haven't changed a whole lot. That's the one thing that I think has been really good. Our program's been pretty steady. As far as just, what we do on the car and how we do it, and just making sure that every week we show up at the racetrack with a car that drives similarly. And, that's been kind of the key for us, is just not doing anything crazy and going out there and, pushing ourselves to be better. And we were way off in Bristol. I felt like that was probably the worst race we've had all year, as far as just feeling like we hit the setup where we wanted it to be at and how the car handled. And still, was able to pull back up there and have a good night. Even though we didn't feel like the car was where we wanted it to be at, we still had a good finish. So, those are the keys to these. I mean, not having anything go wrong, not having mistakes during the race, and not necessarily even just that, but not getting caught up in other people's bad fortune. That's been kind of the biggest thing for us, is putting ourselves in good position. And Jason's done a great job with pit strategy. I think that's probably more important than anything. Is he's put us in those positions, and I've had to do my job and make sure that we hold on to that position, or we do the things we need to do. But it's been fun, knowing that we've got cars that are fast, and we're able to kind of persevere through whatever happens and put ourselves in good position at the end of these races.
Go next to John.
John Heverland, ESPN Albuquerque, and JeffGluck.com. Do you guys see each other as rivals? Like, not to say that you guys dislike each other or anything, but like, what is the relationship between you guys as you get closer to the championship?
I'm interested to hear your answer.
I mean, definitely, I think that from a standpoint of battling it out, I do feel like Christopher is one of. I think there are some other guys that have definitely shown that they have a lot of speed, especially here of late. But I do think that Christopher has definitely shown that he's the guy that we're all going to have to beat to go for this championship when we get to Homestead. And I think that the thing that I love about this sport right now is that there's a lot of really, really good competitors that we're battling it out against each and every week, which has been fun. But Christopher and I have had our battles on the racetrack. These last 5, 6, 8 races, we've been contending for wins and top 5s pretty much every week. So we're gonna race each other a lot, probably from here on out, hopefully, and hopefully it's for a win. If he and I are battling it out for a win, that means that we're doing our jobs and we're putting ourselves in that good position. So yeah, I mean, he is a direct competitor and somebody that I'm going to have to beat. But we've known each other for a long time, and we definitely push each other hard.
I mean, the biggest thing is, man, whenever you get to Homestead, that's the guy who excels there in practice. That's going to be your biggest rival or your biggest competitor. So, we go through these races during the playoffs, and whenever it all comes down to it, there's going to be 4 guys that have no advantage over the other one whenever you get to Homestead. It's whoever beats who. So those practice sessions the practice sessions at Homestead will decide who your main competitor is going to be.
Going to go next to Chris.
Yeah, ChrisManCatchments.com. Justin, as much as the momentum you've had over this last, 10-week stretch or whatnot, the championship 4 race is still far away. How do you guys keep that momentum rolling, and are you afraid you show too much too soon?
Well, I mean, I think there's always a fear of peaking at the wrong time, right? Whether that's the beginning of the year, the end of the year. That was the one thing last year, I think, watching the Cup side, watching guys that just stayed steady all the way through. That's something that we don't see very often, but I feel like even this year it's been kind of the same way on both the Cup and the Xfinity side. Years past, it seemed like there were teams or drivers that would get hot for a few races and then kind of fade off. And I think it's changed a little bit for whatever reason. Hopefully, we've done all the right things and put all the pieces of the puzzle in place to not go cold, if that's what you want to call it, and keep this momentum going. But we've got a huge array of racetracks that are coming up. I mean, you look at the schedule for the next, even 2 Homestead. There's a lot of differences between the different types of racetracks we're going to. We got short tracks, we got speedways, we got the Roval. So there's a lot that can change between now and Homestead. And as Christopher just mentioned, you got to make it to Homestead. That's going to be the hardest part is navigating through the playoffs and each round. And I think that's the reason you see guys like Christopher and myself and my teammate Elliott Sadler and Cole and Daniel. Tyler. Everybody's pushing to try to get those top 3 bonus points for the end of the season regular series championship. So, not that we feel like we're going to have bad races in the playoffs, but man, you want to be able to go to some of these racetracks and feel like you can give up a few spots and not have to worry about it.
Go next to Caleb and then come back down over here on the left.
Caleb Whistler, kicking the tires on that. Looking next week at Indy, kind of what differences do you think the aero package will be providing the racing, considering that you guys have time this year to kind of race on it and then tinker on it as well?
I don't know. I think we saw 2 totally different style of races in between Pocono and Michigan. And obviously Indy, these guys have already ran the aero package there, so that Justin could probably speak on it a little bit more. But Pocono turn 1 is, you had to lift quite a bit for turn 1. You had to lift a little bit for turn 3. So I don't really know how Indy's going to be, but I feel like it's probably going to be somewhere in between what we saw at Pocono and Michigan.
Yeah, that was the interesting part for me. Last year we didn't have a ton of time to really kind of work on this package at Indy. And I saw just the transition from Indy last year to Pocono this year was a huge difference. Just in what cars were fast and kind of how they managed that package. And we saw a big difference even really from Pocono to Michigan, which I don't know if that's just because of the shape of the racetrack, as Christopher mentioned, that we had to lift a lot at those 2 racetracks, and in Michigan you were wide open all the way around. Indy last year was interesting to me because I felt like it put on a good race, but it completely changed, how you attacked Indy. Indy used to be extremely challenging as far as, where to lift, how much speed you could roll through the center of the corner, and then how crazy it was on corner exit there. And I feel like that's changed a little bit, just because of the speeds we were running. So I'm excited to get back there and try it. But on the flip side of it, if you show up and you're off, it's going to be hard to kind of change your program around to get your cars where you want them to be at. So hopefully the teams have done their homework, from these first 2 and what we learned last year and put us in good position. So it's going to be a challenge, but it should be fun.
Are there any additional questions, final questions for Christopher Bell? Go to Bob.
Bob Hawkers, ESPN. I have one for each. So first for Christopher. Were you mad at Justin last week? We saw you get turned, but never really heard.
Yeah, no, I mean, not really mad at Justin. It's just a product of road racing, and I definitely felt like I was a ping pong ball out there at times, but that's all right. You know, that's road racing, and we're not road racing this week, thankfully.
And for Justin, did you try to get a ride for the dirt race at Indy next week, or did you just round to focus on the Xfinity car?
Yeah, you know, I just decided to focus on the IndyCar. I've kind of basically cut all the open wheel stuff out of my year, other than the Chili Bowl. That's kind of the only one I get to do anymore. And I could probably, I think it's going to be a great race. I hope that I can make it, you know, because I see in the entry list now, I was at 116, I think is what I saw yesterday. You know, what the Speedway has done is pretty incredible to put in, you know, what they call a temporary racetrack. Their temporary racetrack's nicer than about 90% of the regular racetracks around the country. So they've done a good job as far as that goes. You know, hopefully the fans embrace it. You know, obviously Indy is a very big open wheel town, and you know what they're attempting to do there is pretty incredible. So I'm excited for it. Whether I get to go or not, we'll have to see. But you know, as far as running there, I'm bummed that I'm not there. But on the flip side of it, you know, just with our schedule, and I've been gone a lot this year, so it just didn't seem like the right fit to try and make it work.
James Jackson, ESPN Albuquerque and New Mexican Motorsports Report. Justin, can you talk a little bit about how your boss was saying last week that you were ready to move up to the Cup Series? Do you feel that you're ready, or do you want to stay in the Xfinity Series, or how confident are you here?
You know, the one thing I will say is I'm having a great time right now on the Xfinity side. You know, Junior Motorsports has been a great home for me. You know, they've to put myself back in contention to win races and win championships year after year. You know, that's huge. Do I want redemption on the Cup side? Yeah, absolutely. You know, I personally don't ever really feel like I got a fair shake at the Cup side, just based on the circumstances that were dealt. And that wasn't a fault of anyone. There was a lot of moving pieces that had to come together to make the Cup program work the way that we wanted it to. And that didn't happen. And I'm not going to blame that on any person as much as I blame it on myself for not being more aware and trying to make things happen differently. Do I want redemption? Yeah, absolutely. I want to go back to Cup at some point in my career and prove to myself more than anybody. I could care less about what anybody else thinks about it as far as whether I could be successful or not on the Cup side. But just to myself, you know, knowing that if you were to get in the right situation at the right time and the right car, I think we could go and have success on the Cup Series. But on the flip side of it, I'm not going to jeopardize what I'm doing right now to go take, you know, just a seat just because I want to explore that option. You know, I think that it would have to be that perfect scenario, and you know, like I said, I'm happy where I'm at. It's a great fit for myself, but also too, you know, Brant Professional Agriculture has been a huge supporter of mine for the last few years, and it's a great fit for them as well. So, you know, I don't want to do anything on that front that jeopardizes their interests or mine.
Come down here in the middle.
Jacob Seelman, Speed Sport. Justin, to circle back kind of to what you were talking about with Bob a minute ago, I know you're not running it, but looking at the event and kind of seeing how IMS has approached it, do you feel like that it's an event that could become a year after year thing, just kind of looking at how they built it so far?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to think so. You know, I think that it's going to be interesting. You know, obviously there's a lot of good and bad on the internet as far as what people are expecting, and that's I hate seeing that only because, you know, until we see cars on the racetrack and you know, they're out there and battling each other, I don't know that you're really going to get a good judge of what to expect. On the flip side of that, though, I do think that if they're willing to put the time and effort into it that they've put into it this year, moving forward, yeah, it has every opportunity to be successful. You know, I think that that's the beauty of promoters and guys like that they have, you know, that are putting this program together. You know, this is a big event at a big racetrack, right? But it doesn't necessarily have to be because it's Indianapolis Motor Speedway. You know, there's good promoters that are able to draw interest in people, and I think this is just one of those scenarios.
Any additional questions for Justin? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.